In this presentation, we will discuss how to create a three-part job announcement that will help connect you with qualified candidates. Disclaimer. The information contained here has been prepared by Civitas Strategies Early Start and is not intended to constitute legal, tax, or financial advice. The Civitas Strategies Early Start team has used reasonable efforts in collecting, preparing, and providing this information, but does not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, adequacy, or currency. The publication and distribution of this information is not intended to create, and receipt does not constitute an attorney-client or any other advisory relationship. Reproduction of this information is expressly prohibited. Here's our focus for this session: the difference between a job description and a job announcement, and how to create an effective job announcement. Both serve valuable but separate purposes for your business. Obviously, quality staff is critical to your business's success, not just because it affects the stability and consistency of family and child in your care experiences, but also because from a business perspective, turnover costs you dearly. The thing is, we are also experiencing challenges to the workforce environment more broadly, so it can be difficult getting to the right candidates, getting your word out beyond the competition, and attracting qualified superstar employees to you instead of someone or somewhere else. Intentionally revisiting and recrafting your job announcement is a key place to start. Even before you get started, it's probably a good idea to take some time to reflect on when the best time to hire for your business is. It gives you a chance to do a little bit of planning so you can be as proactive as possible instead of reactive. Consequently, you should think about your program's future needs. Are you hoping to increase the number of children you can serve? Do you plan to expand your program's offerings? Think about the type of team member you will need to assist you in making those plans a reality. Simultaneously, know your staff members' plans. Do you have a recent college graduate on your team who is now looking for a job in their field? Do you have a staff member whose spouse's company is relocating them to a different state? Do you have a caregiver who may be going on maternity leave? By hiring a new staff member in anticipation of these staffing needs, you can ensure a smoother transition for the children, your families, and your program. Of course, as you know, there are child care regulations and minimum standard implications for hiring. The minimum standards for child care outline the child-caregiver ratio for each age group. You may need to hire to meet these ratios in the classroom, depending on your future plans. If your plans are to increase your quality rating, there's another reason to think about hiring a new or additional staff person. You also want to be thoughtful about timing. How soon do you need to have a person ready to enter the classroom? Give yourself time to select a great candidate, especially if this role is going to play a big part in a new or expanded part of your program. You want to start off in the right way. For most, the answer may be as soon as possible. However, it is important to note when requirements are needed for hiring and onboarding, it's important to recognize the need early and plan accordingly. This process does take time. For example, if an applicant is from out of state, there are additional background check requirements for those individuals. Time to get these needed checks for out of state may vary, so it's good to keep this in mind if you're looking to fill a sudden vacancy. This is an important step in hiring, but it is not intuitive. Take some time before you jump into the process to develop and articulate a value statement about what is special about your business. What makes you unique? It could be your background, learning philosophy, culture, how you work with families and keep them engaged, or a particular program you offer or community you support with your services. Ask yourself, what is special about my program? Often, the first few things you think of will be your answer, even if you haven't done this exercise before. This work will support a key part of the job announcement, as well as be helpful in other facets of the business too. The distinction between a job description and a job announcement is central to lean recruitment success. It is a critical but subtle shift. When an organization gets ready to hire, they often start by putting together a job description. A job description is a wonderfully helpful tool for human resources and management. They help clarify roles and responsibilities and outline any other parameters important for the role. They serve their purpose very well, but their main purpose is not to recruit talent. We advise making a shift to creating a job announcement for your recruiting. This document clearly describes what skills and capabilities are needed, and on top of that, it gives the audience, your prospective candidates, a clear, enthusiastic, interest-inspiring peek at the organization and the opportunities ahead for the role. Again, this is different than a traditional job description, which usually has some dry background or standard explanation, then launches into a laundry list of every single characteristic the business might want to hire. If you think about it, they're not really written to persuade and attract an outside audience. So the job announcement acts like a marketing piece. Its purpose is to inspire the right candidate about the opportunity to work for you. To help you transition to a job announcement, we've broken it down into 3 parts. Each part serves a purpose in what it's communicating to an ideal candidate, with the overall goal of essentially selling the position to them. We want to make the job and the organization as appealing as possible. You'll see that the process of doing the 3-part job announcement also requires employers to whittle down the details and the requirements and to be as judicious as possible in what you're looking for. This requires a good amount of clarity about the most essential expectations of the job and what kind of person you need to fill it. Clear, short, and simple are the name of the game. It's also a good time to reflect and to decide what you'd like to see from and know about an applicant in order to decide if they are a good fit. This might include their work history, sample lesson plans, or references. Next, we'll walk through each of the 3 parts: the why, the what, and the how. We'll start with the why. This is where you refer to the value statement you drafted for your business. A good way to think about this section is the hook. Remember, the best talent is probably not looking to leave their current positions if their current employer is effective at retaining their top employees. When drafting these few sentences, think about the reasons your business is more attractive, more special, more innovative, or unique than others. What is special about who you serve or the community you are a part of? Think about the growth you're experiencing or exciting things coming up. Also think about exciting opportunities that may be motivating or inspiring. Part 2 is the what. Recruiting the traditional way means that you have a long list of requirements. You get a bunch of candidates that you narrow down through reviewing, screening, and interviewing, and potentially you are left with candidates who don't quite fit exactly what you're looking for. Think of this part of the process as front-loading those decisions. Being very specific up front about what you're looking for, what's most essential, saves you some work later and allows the top applicants to really see themselves in what you've drafted. Ask yourself here, what are the 1 or 2 key things this person will need to be successful in the short term and the long term? What can they potentially learn or train on once they're in the role? Is there a certain audience or client you really need this person to understand? Or are the skills more general for this work? Has the market for talent changed since you last hired for this role? Is there a new training program or certification adding to the pool of qualified candidates? At the end, look back at your list and ask, what top 3 to 5 things are absolutely non-negotiable? Then add priorities around education, experience, availability, or training. Pay attention to anything that reads as vague and add metrics or details to clarify your criterion. The third and final part is the how. This section is mostly logistical, but information here sets expectations on both sides and avoids any surprises later. This outlines all the information you would like to see as part of their application and how they will put it together and submit it to you. If you are thoughtful and proactive here about what information you would like to see, it will help down the line when you are making decisions about applicants. We also recommend here that you be as clear as possible about the position. What is the schedule? What is the compensation? Are there any benefits? Beyond being best and equitable practice nowadays, this will again save you time later when someone drops out of the process because they need health insurance, for example. Here are a few tips to help you in this process. First, don't feel like you need to do this in a vacuum. Look around for inspiration. That could be in other areas of the country or even outside your field. Find examples that really inspire you, then tailor or adapt them based on your business. Also, it's a good idea to have others read it to test how it sounds. Be open to their opinions. And lastly, another plug for specificity. When in doubt, see what you can do to make things more succinct, more clear, and more specific. Remember, this exercise serves you later in the process. Your goal isn't to get the most applications, it's to get the best applicant to apply.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are interested in learning more about